back to Gallery Watch. We're here at the Moores Contemporary Gallery in Fremantle, seeing a trio of exhibitors passing through time. Now let me introduce you to Anita Garen, another one of our exhibiting artists tonight. How are you tonight, Anita?
Good, thank you.
Now we're standing next to one of your pieces here. Please tell us about it.
It's, for me, about going a little bit back to the past. Inspiration from the 1700s crinolines and corsetry and things. Those things are so restrictive, but the beauty of them is quite amazing as a sculptural form and architecturally as well. And I really wanted to create something that was very open. Because I like the translucency but also the shadows that can come from those kinds of works. And of course working with plant materials as well, so I was wanting to find a way to combine like what I know from fashion design and garment construction with what I know from basketry and textiles and weaving. So it's marrying those two together, and I think I've visualised this piece for a very long time, but not in the form that it's in. I just knew that I wanted see-through fabric and these plant materials as the spinal parts in it, instead of the regular traditional boning that you would have in those kinds of garments. The pieces inside here are from the date palm trees. They're quite beautiful spindly sticks, and they're just so beautiful I wanted to find a way to show them off. And in here is cordyline stripped down, and also flax, New Zealand flax, which is an amazing plant to work with. It's really strong. So they all get stripped down and dried out, or sometimes they're dry already.
Now this is the Anamorphous that we have upstairs. I'm just looking at this piece and thinking, I can't even imagine how you put this together. It must have taken you forever. Share with us.
Yes, it did take forever, and I was still weaving it today actually, finishing it off. It's made from seagrasses that grow on the edge of the shoreline. And it's just such a beautiful material to work with because they're quite rubbery and they're strong, and then when they're bound together they're just beautiful. And I've used, so it's just that plant material plus wire as well, coated wire. And I started off just doing a simple weave and seeing that, and then shaping it, and then it started to transform as I was making it into these beautiful shapes, and then I saw the potential for creating shapes in the negative spaces with that, because that's what I really enjoy, is the positive and negative spaces, and then how the interplay of light as well and shadows on the wall. When I do these kinds of weavings, they're intuitive, totally. So I didn't have a picture in my mind to start with. I just basically started it on the mannequin at home and formed the shape around the mannequin, and formed it as I went along, so constantly making decisions about which way would I like this line to go, or what shape would I like to make in here, and then how is that possible based on which way the materials are already working. So in a sense, always when I'm working with any materials, they speak to me, and I follow that in my process.
It must be so fascinating seeing how these pieces just evolve.
Yes, yeah, I do. Yeah, because I don't know what they're going to look like until the very end. Yeah. I've been experimenting with natural dyes at home, and sometimes I like to dye the materials that I'm working with, as in the plant materials. And I picked up some corn skins that I had dyed many years ago, and they were so beautiful that I started experimenting with them again. I started just looking around the kitchen, like, what have I got in the kitchen? Oh, there's turmeric, and they just dye so beautifully because they're paper. And they don't have to have a fixative in them, so it made it really easy. You know, I just eat the corn and then cook up the skins afterwards in some turmeric.
Oh, delicious.
Yeah. And then one night a friend was over and he was cooking purple carrots, and I'd never seen them before, and they made the most amazing dye, and so that got me really looking around my environment and experimenting with whatever I could find. Leaves, I'd made some dyes out of leaves, some bark off a local tree, that the tree was purple. My intention is to use these to become a part of another work later on. So for me it's raw material, but then what I capture is then the beauty that I see when I'm going through the process of making these things. So at a certain stage of drying, for instance, the corn skins become actually quite translucent. And because I'm working with translucency anyway, I really picked up on that and started photographing and taking it into different lights. The relationship is, I suppose that's the way I work. I always go back into things or sometimes re-explore them, and then that makes, for me, everything connected. And it's not my intention to do that, but that just happens because I'm a process-driven artist and I enjoy the processes. Yeah.
Very exciting. And making me quite hungry, I have to say, as well, thinking about that cooked corn.
It was nice. This was a new technique for me to try because I love photographs, but being a textile and fashion person, I actually find it really difficult to hang a photograph or frame a photograph. I've never done it. And I tried and I couldn't do it. And then I found a printer that prints on fabric, and then I started to feel my way through it and go, yeah, this is what I want. This is what speaks to me because I love fabrics and that's what I work with. So this lovely printer, they said, yeah, we'll try that. We'll do it and see what happens. And together we worked it out and worked out a format for it. And so it's the first time I've done it. But to see them on fabric is just amazing. So that's opened up a whole new world for me again. I can't wait to experiment with that.
Has quite a slightly sort of Asian influence feel about it as well.
Yeah, and probably some of that is the way that I've hung it. The decisions about putting it on a rod and having tabs, that already references Asian work. But I do feel often that I have kind of Asian influences within me, in my blood, and I'm drawn to those things. So, tapestries, weavings, or things from Vietnam and other places that are very into that in their daily lives. That's part of their, not just to sell it, but that's part of their life, their culture, and that really interests me. I keep getting drawn to that.
We look forward to seeing what you produce next.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, you've brought us in to look at this artwork. Tell us what you think about it.
Well, I just walked into this and was immediately attracted to this particular piece because just that to me it seems very primal. It's just got that quality of a very honest, primal aesthetic. Sadly, it's behind glass because it's just so appealing. I'd like to go up and touch it, caress it. I just would love to feel it.
It's that beautiful soft appeal, doesn't it?
Very soft appeal and just a real honesty. It's a very feminine piece, I feel. And I think for that, it just connects with me. I really enjoy the variety of materials that she's used as well. So it would seem like there's some tie-dye behind there, and some felt and stitchery. And just the way that she's sort of integrated colour and fairly organic forms. It just speaks to me as a woman. And for no logical reason, no rational, I'm just drawn to it. It just appeals to me.
Now next to me is Jackie, and she's been roped in tonight by who?
By Laura Mitchell, a friend of mine.
Wonderful. And I've seen you operating very fantastically here behind the desk. What have you been doing tonight?
Just taking money, really, basically. I'm an art teacher, so I love anything to do with art. So I'm happy to be here, and it's great. It's a great atmosphere here, and plenty of familiar faces, so it's good.
And what do you think about the artists exhibiting here tonight and the artwork displayed?
I know Laura's work, and I love Laura's work. It's been, I think I haven't had a look upstairs, unfortunately, but it's been, what I've seen has been lovely. It's been great.
I'm sure you'll get to enjoy that a bit later, but thanks for helping out tonight.
No worries, thank you.
Well, thanks for watching tonight. I hope you've enjoyed this exhibition of Passing Through Time here at the Fremantle Moores Contemporary Gallery. And we'll see you next week on Gallery Watch. Yeah.